Okay, Algebra 8, we are moving on to section 2.5. These are dividing rational numbers. Remember, those rational numbers are basically any numbers that we've been working with, but we are focusing on decimals and fractions. So the first thing here is reciprocal. The reciprocal basically is the flip of a fraction. Now, that's not the technical term, but that's how I like to think about it. So I'm going to give you an example here. The reciprocal of 3/4 is 4/3. Okay? So when we divide fractions, I hope that you guys remember our little trick, but we skip, and then we flip, and then we multiply. So if you know how to multiply fractions, you can divide fractions. So again, we skip, we flip, then we multiply. Now you can do your simplifying here. So for example, 1 and 3, there's nothing you can simplify, but 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 8 twice. 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3, so your answer is 2/3. Again, skip, flip, multiply. I can simplify the 3 and the 9. 3 goes into 3 one time, it goes into 9 3 times. So 2 times 3 is 6, 1 times 5 is 5. Negative times a positive is a negative. It doesn't matter if your negative goes with the top number or the bottom number, just not both. So you could leave your answer like this, or you could write -1 and 1/5. I will accept either answer. Okay, your next one. Skip, flip, and multiply. Looks like my 4 and 8. 4 goes into 4 one time, it goes into 8 twice. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. It is a negative because we had a positive and a negative. The answer is just -6. Okay. Skip, flip, multiply. This gives me 3 goes into 3 1, goes into 9 3 times, 1/3. Skip, flip, multiply. So the 3 and the 6, 3 goes into 3 one time, it goes into 6 twice. 1 times 7 is 7. 5 times 2 is 10. Negative times a positive is a negative. Skip, flip, multiply.
Just a reminder to students who have signed up for lunches to go home to pick yours up today.
It'll be divided by 2.
At 12:15. Will be located across from the elevator.
3 times 3, 9. 4 times 5, 20. Cannot be simplified. Sorry about the interruption there. Okay, so lots of good examples for you to look at. Now we're going to do mixed numbers and whole numbers. So you need to put it into an improper fraction first. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. So 7/5. And then 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So improper fractions first. Then we're going to do the 7/5 times 2/3. Doesn't look like there's anything I can simplify on this one. 7 times 2 is 14. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, if you have a whole number, you always put it over 1. So -3/4 times 1/9. It looks like I can simplify that 3 and the 9. 3 goes into 3 once, goes into 9 3 times. 1/12. And this is a negative because one of the numbers was negative. Next one here. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So this is a negative 7/3. And then I'm just going to times it by 4/1. Doesn't look like there's anything I can cross simplify. 7 times 4 is a negative 28. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 can go into 28 9 times, and that gives you 27. So negative 9 1/3. Okay, so now we're going to do dividing decimals. Okay, so the first number goes on the inside. So this is going to be 1.53, and on the outside is the other number. So the rule is the number on the outside cannot be a decimal. So I've got to move my decimal there. If I move it one place there, I have to move it one place here. Okay, in this particular problem, does 3 go into 1? No. Does 3 go into 15? It does. How many times? 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Bring down your 3. Does 3 go into 15? It does one time. 1 times 3 is 3. 0. So your answer is 5.1. Okay, my next one, 5.14 divided by 0.2. You've got to move your decimal one place. Move your decimal one place. Put it right there. Does 2 go into 5? It does. It goes in there twice. 2 times 2 is 4. Does 2 go into 11? It does. 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. Does 2 go into 14? It does. Make sure you put that on the other side of the decimal point. So we've got 25.7. Okay. So I want to make sure, get enough examples for you guys here. So this is 0.5 divided by 0.05. So you still have to move 2 places because there's 2 decimals there. If you have to move places that you don't have numbers, you put a 0, and you can ignore this 0. Okay, so now you're asking, does 5 go into 5? It does, one time. 1 times 5 is 5. And then does 5 go into 0? 0 times, so it's 10. Your answer is just 10. 0 times 5 is 0. Okay, maybe I'll do one more out of this section with you. Let's do number 15. So 58 divided by 0.06. Move it 2 places, 1, 2, 1, 2, because there's an understood decimal there. Okay, so does 6 go into 5? Nope. Does 6 go into 58? It does. And it goes in there 9 times. 9 times 6 is 54. Okay, does 6 go into 40? It does 6 times. Again, does 6 go into 40? It does 6 times. And then this is, you guys can see, is going to keep happening. You have to go 1 after the decimal and then put a line over it. So this answer is 966.6 repeating. And that's your answer. Okay, so I'm not going to do the last 2 examples, save you guys your time. I'll just do maybe one of these ones. We'll do number 22. Okay, or maybe we'll do number 23. That's a little bit harder. Okay, so top divided by bottom. So 42.42 divided by x. Well, what is x? X is 1.4. Okay, so again, you have to move your decimal. So you're asking how many times does 14 go into 4? It doesn't. How many times does 14 go into 42? Well, you might need to check this. I'm going to guess 3. Let's check. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. So it goes in there perfectly 3 times. So 3 times 14 is 42. Subtract. This is something that kids forget a lot. Oops, sorry, this is a 4. Does 14 go in 4? No, so you have to put a 0 here. Does 14 go into 42? Yes, again, 3 times. But don't forget that 0. That was a common mistake that I've seen lots of kids make. You can kind of double check to see if your answers seem reasonable or not. Basically, it's the same thing as on the other side. You just have to look at it a little bit differently. Last one I'll do right here, number 24. Mr. Chen has a 76-inch space to stack books. So let's think about it like this. He's got 76 inches to stack his books. Each book is 6 1/3 inches tall. How many books can he stack? So you're gonna have to take this space and divide by the width of the book. So 76 divided by 6 1/3. So, oops, like I said, if it's a whole number, put it over 1. And then if it's a mixed number, you have to write it as an improper fraction. So 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19. Then we're gonna skip, flip, and multiply. Now I'm gonna guess that 19 and 76 have something in common, so I'm gonna check. Let's see if it goes in there 4 times. So 19 times 4. 9 and 4 is 36. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, look at that, perfectly. So 19 goes into 76 4 times, man. And it goes into 19 once. So 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 1 is 1. So how many books? 12 books. Okay. So I think that should be a sufficient amount of examples for you. Make sure you guys show your work and let me know if you have any questions.